going on? Hello, my name is V, and welcome to the 100th video. Yes, I know I'm blowing it way out of proportion. Stutters like, why does this add about 100 videos, V? You said you'd done YouTube before. Shouldn't it be like your da 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 da? Well, in actuality, if you guys want to talk it like that, this is actually like my 700th video. I'm gonna keep that in because I want y'all to really know how hard English is. But this is actually my 700th video if we're gonna be completely honest about all my rodeos on YouTube. But since this is my first solo career, it is my first 100th video. Hop off my dick now. So, what are we gonna be talking about? Since the 50th video, I talked about sex, which according to some people was a very controversial topic since sex is kind of a taboo in American culture. Guys, I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to even put it into words anymore, but I am not an actual American. I don't even care about what nationality I actually am anymore because I've grown to pretty much think of the whole world as it's shit anyway. So just be your own independent being. Simple as that, people. But the topic I'm going to be talking to you guys about today for my 100th video is on modern parenting, on both the positives and the negatives. But first, because a lot of people just know me as a very critical person, we're going to be focusing on the negatives.
All in favor?
Aye! So, what kind of negatives can I even say about modern day parents? Oh my, I can't even finish this. I can't even finish the fake question with a straight face. There is a lot of negatives to modern day parenting, okay? But let me backtrack for a little bit because it wasn't all of that horrible. I mean, most people would probably think that I would say something about the whole freedom thing of sexuality, but no, that's actually one of the positives I'm going to get into. But here's where the negatives, I think, would be coming in. For all that people like to say about kids growing up in a better environment for entertainment values, for knowledge seekings, and all that sort of stuff, let us kind of take a step back to some of the earlier decades of stuff. I won't go into mine because, quite frankly, me and Tink had a discussion about how it seems like I'm just a Time Lord since I know a lot of different decades from just seeing them on the television before they were computerized, and also growing up with the 90s stuff, so it's kind of like which was my actual date of birth at this rate. Either I have Benjamin Button disease or I'm a Time Lord, so we're not going to go into that topic. But for what I remember in like the 90s to early 2000s as like the pinpoint, during that era we still had the parents from the 60s through the 80s that are growing up to raise their kids. They actually instilled a better discipline and motivation for their kids to not really be back-talking, shit-spewing assholes that just wanted to act like they run this bitch. And then we fast forward to late 2000s to where we are today, where from all the places I've been working at since I've been out of school and since before I got out of school, kids don't really kind of respect their parents as much, where they're just doing and just acting however they want to and just feel like it's supposed to be the way. And one of those things is from parenting, because they kind of make it seem as if they're not supposed to be respected. I mean, you see the parents that are televised, like Honey Boo Boo's mama, Big June.
Oh my god.
Something like that, I don't know. Just using her little daughter to kind of live out some weird ass fantasy while also promoting the giant rate of gluttony with stuff that makes even American standards fat seem ugh. I mean, when you start having your child try to say that she likes to bathe in butter, you know you have a problem. You have a serious problem, you need to seek help. Stop being stupid. And then we also had the parents that were raised in that era and then still had the fuck up kids that they have today. And those parents I like to call the Jersey Shore parents.
It's t-shirt time?
12:10 is t-shirt time.
T-shirt time? It is 12:10.
And the only reason I bring up Jersey Shore is because, honestly, guys, for all the times that we want to talk shit about a whole bunch of celebrity scandals of all these sort of things, when it comes to the drama that happens with kids nowadays, it's mostly from them emulating what they see in the television rather than what they actually see throughout other sorts of medium. Because until a certain age, kids don't really discern reality and fantasy that well.
Sick of your lies! Secrets and lies! It's always secrets and lies!
And to those that do, they just choose to emulate what they see because they think it's cool since it's popular. Don't believe me? Allow me to actually point this out for you guys. In most high schools that a lot of kids have gone to in both the East and West Coast of America alone, since I am American now, most kids would do stuff that they see from their favorite videos to get attention and stuff, or their favorite movies or favorite TV shows, whether they get it from the internet because they know it better than their parents, or because they just want to see it just to be cool. They will emulate that so they can fit in with the popular crowd. Now, obviously, from all of you guys that know me personally, I couldn't care less about being popular, since in order to be popular, you have to sell your soul to a conformist society where you have no independence and you have to do this, that, and the third thing in order to stay popular. I don't care about being popular. I don't even care about people saying I need to be this, that, and the third thing. I like doing my own flow. I like mixing it up with shit.
Yes! Yes!
But that is the kind of era that we live in for just the parenting angle. But what about the restrictions that parents put on their kids? That has lessened more and more because of the whole PC era. You didn't have this sort of thing when I was growing up because PC was just like a punk kid in just parenting dictionary where you would get your ass beat the moment you got inside. What was just cut out, you guys don't need to worry about that. That was just a bunch of rambling. So, from what is a restraint for parents nowadays is a lot different than what it was back in the day. Restraints for parents now is just for publicity stuff of don't do this to embarrass the family, or we'll just take away your electronics for like a week or so. That isn't parenting, guys. That is coddling and just acting like you need kids to be babied all the time, even when they're teenagers. When in actuality, you need to treat them more like adults and discipline them as if they were adults. I mean, that's kind of what my biggest problem is with the educational system right now, but we're not going to touch on that subject for another few hundred videos, because I need to get better lighting and I need my beautiful makeup baby to do everything for my face to illustrate the point. But back to the point itself of restraints going worse and worse. In actuality, when you just sit down and talk to certain kids, just like, my parents are so mean. They took away my tablet and my iPhone, so now I cannot text my boyfriend. Okay, so I'm out of this bitch.
Oh, that's stupid! Really stupid.
It makes no fucking sense for these kids, because I didn't have a cell phone growing up. I had to have dial-up internet. And even when I had dial-up internet, the only thing that I did with it was hack into one of the MS Paint systems, and boom, I got a free copy of Doom.
What? What the fuck? You are a god!
And although I would like to say it's just all the parents' fault, this is when I'm going to actually agree with the media on one thing. I know, shocking at that because of how little I give a shit about the media unless it's pertaining to something I'm reviewing or playing. But the media does have a good hold on our children and our adults, as a matter of fact, because they, as a whole, have to have something to fall back on as inspiration when they don't have parents to really raise them on. When it comes to the parenting angle for it, though, when people are just watching certain programs that are aimed towards young adults and stuff, they don't really see parents that actually raise their kids. You just see them using them for publicity stuff in the modern day era. I mean, you got Parental Control from MTV that had parents just getting random people to date their children.
Mike's obsessed with his muscles.
He could be drinking water and he has to look at his biceps.
You had programs like Next where these parents were funding to have their college-aged or, quite frankly, adult to be living on their own self-age to just get themselves a date with 5 girls that would just do the most random of shit just to get on TV. You have the Jersey Shore and the Buck Wild kids that just have parents that would let them do whatever the fuck you guys are thinking or just saw. I don't even know anymore. When it comes to reality shows with young adults living in a house together, I just think you guys had no good parenting at this rate if you just think that this is all acceptable. Because if I were in a place like that, or if I were a woman and put in the Bad Girls Club, I would probably be pulled out the second I would step through the door, just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get your ass in the vehicle right now!
There is logic in what he said.
Because I have those kind of parents. But I cannot even say it's all their fault, because most kids, when they're in the era of technology and stuff, they just emulate whatever they see on the fucking internet. I mean, there are good inspirational people to watch on the internet, just like what I've been doing for dedication by pointing out stuff like Heather Troska or Zombie Unicorn, or even people I don't really talk about like Cass J. Tuck or Alyssa Marie or Essence, aka Sarah Violette, or even other people that are doing bigger and better things. They are inspirational, but most of the time people are watching stuff like the video girls in most hip-hop videos, or the slutty YouTubers of stuff, or the slutty Twitch streamers like Casey Tron, and just think that that is their inspiration to aspire to be when they're younger, making them into what they are today. And it sort of also goes in the whole thing of what I kind of feel about teen pregnancy, because although I know what it's like to be expecting a kid when you're a teenager and how frightening it is, the problem with that is I kind of taken the time after the whole almost happened but didn't scenario panned out in my face to give me clarity and see how bad of a mistake that was. But recently, from all the teen moms and the 16 and Pregnant series, we've just had multiple teen pregnancy stories than we ever want to admit, which is sort of a horrifying experience, because these kids really don't know how to raise children, nor should they have to. These kids had a choice to be responsible and at least think these options through, because you cannot even tell me that they were just teenagers and they were stupid. I was a teenager and I was almost a dad. You want to know how that ended for me? The kids were stillborn because I was being stupid and still doing stuff with drugs. I had a choice to be smart, and I also knew to be smart, but I chose not to, and it still haunts me to this day. Teens know what the fuck they're doing, but parents want to be like, they're still children, they're still innocent. No! Open your eyes and look around you. Teenagers and even children in elementary schools, from what I've heard, aren't just kids and innocent anymore. They need to be disciplined in a more direct manner, because if we don't, they won't be adjusted to a better place in their lives. We would have more surplus stuff of the most stupid garbage that we see today, rather than having the smartest of programming that we need in our lives. Do you think that 50 years ago at this rate that we would have had a teen pregnancy story that would have ended with them on television documenting their lives and then actually getting contracts to do stuff like Farrah Abraham with her backdoor teen mom fame right now? No! 50 years ago today, the parents of those teen kids would have put their kids in some remote city that no one knows the child, where they would raise them into well-adjusted people where they wouldn't repeat the same mistakes that their parents made. What is the discipline for today's standards? Sure, it's a lot better with the whole daycare stuff and whatnot, but when you're a teenager in high school, raising kids, you don't do any favors for the parent or even for the child. Children, very, very small children, need stability and an active parent to make sure that they're taken care of around the clock until a certain age. Anyone that's been a parent or knows how to raise kids would tell you this, but apparently you don't see that. You just see that your teenager is raising a child. You see it being promoted on television, so obviously the most logical option is to just have them raise the kid without any sort of stuff because you see it on television. And because you didn't really see that thing in your parenting handbook. You just want to be like every other parent in this PC era, just like, oh, they're just being innocent, so what else are we supposed to do? Own the fuck up and parent your kids, man.
You're goddamn right.
But that is all on the negative side of parenting, but what about the positives with modern day parenting? What are the overly underlooked things that modern day parenting does for kids? Well, in the modern day era that we didn't have back in the day or ever when I had growing up, parenting is actually more interactive, more with certain parents. I mean, for all the people that I know that are starting to be parents now, like my buddy Blair with the most adorable little baby in the world, they are actually more active with making sure that they're taking care of their child. Making sure they got the best things, making sure they have the best everything, just make sure that they don't have to be underexposed like they did. There are more vacations and venues for children. There are more options for kids to gain knowledge that we didn't have, like faulty books that didn't have the right knowledge that we needed at that time but had to wait an entire year to get. Kids can get that in an instant due to all the technological advances that we have. Programming that is aimed for children is actually a lot smarter. Like Steven Universe, for example, one of my favorite shows and one of the big things I wanted to review on YouTube but got copyright claim because of every place in the globe besides America. That is actually promoting more stuff of equality for the LGBT community because of all the themes that goes over with love, sexuality, identification, and acceptance. That is all pretty much poignant. Stuff like Adventure Time. That is evolved into just a simple story of a kid in an unknown environment to a child that is growing up into an environment where he feels like he has real control over what he has to do and is exploring those options. Regular show, although aimed for like kids that are like in middle school but can be viewed by kids in elementary school because they kind of censor their swear words, it went from just a regular slacker TV show about two dudes in a park to a really good series about how real life works out. Not every relationship is going to be worked out like this, like how we grew up with on Disney's old movies of Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. Not everything's going to pan out that you want. Not every dream or aspiration that you desire is what you're going to want. And not every mistake is going to be fixed just because you say just one thing. You have to have actions to follow behind those. And even stuff that you see from like Disney Channel, which from what I heard, there's this new show for Disney's Disney Junior section called The Lion Guard, which is an expansion on the Lion King universe about one of Simba's kids. And it's apparently teaching kids Swahili and how to be responsible at a toddler age, which is both progressive and smart, even though if they want to do an actual show on Lion King's siblings, they should have done Copa from the Lion King books, but I digress from being an old person.
Alrighty then.
And other advantages that I've seen from select parents is that they actually talk to their kids. Like, yeah, you had kids that grew up around the 60s through the 90s that had parents that talked to them when they were toddlers. No. They would actually talk to their kids as if they were genuine people. Not just that whole...
What the hell is that?
Kids deserve the right to be treated as if they are people, because even though they're tiny, adorable people like baby Noah, they deserve to be treated as if they're tiny little people like, hello little Noah. How are you doing today? How is your hair? It is beautiful. How do you do it? You see that baby over there? You prettier than her? And I means it. Just sort of stuff like that. Even though I'm doing it comedically, kids do deserve to be treated like actual people, and when they grow up, there are actually parents that actually treat their kids like adults. Not like that whole educational system where just like, even though you are this, that, and the third thing about being away from being an adult, you still get treated like a child, and anything that you do is controversial because you talk about it. No. Parents are starting to see that they need to treat their kids more like adults in certain households where they actually instill that whole knowledge inside their heads. This is a good thing for progressive stuff, since a lot of people that have watched the negative side of things before I even talked about it got smarter. They actually saw what their kids need to be aspiring to be and what they need to do. They didn't just sit on their asses and just like, we need to raise them the Jersey Shore way, we need to raise them the Buck Wild way, we need to raise them the Toddlers and Tiaras way, we need to raise them the Honey Boo Boo way. We need to raise them the correct way. We need to raise them in a balanced environment of discipline and also instilling a good sort of foundation. This is all that kids need in any era that we are raised in. I don't care if you're in the Stone Age, I don't care if you're in the futuristic era of 5782 when all the aliens come in and it's supposed to be an ingrained process where aliens and humans live together along with some weird other shit. I don't even care if this is when all of time and space is now just a giant ball of thread where the only things that are able to see these feeds are giant energy balls that are just going into paradise. You all need to know children need a balanced environment to raise their own kids in, so that they have to do what their parents did for them, which is the same process. Discipline, yet a balanced foundation. You can make sure that you rear your kids when they do something bad, but you also need to make sure that they learn a lesson to grow up in with. You can make sure that you keep your kids from doing the right path even if it seems wrong, like scaring them away from drugs and sex. I had to make another cut there because I was talking all weirdly. Kids do deserve to be scared away from the bad topics, like I was saying, but they also need to be steered towards why it's bad. I mean, you have parents that are just like, pot is bad when you're at this age, son. Like, why? Watch this PSA. And they wouldn't learn anything. They would just do drugs anyway. But if you were to discuss things with them, like, because you're this certain age, it wouldn't really affect you the same way it should do to people that need it for depression or MS, cancer, or other sorts of actual things that are going wrong with them. That is what you need to do. Or why sex is horrible for young people. They could steer them away from it, but just discuss why it's bad at that age. Because if people were to actually have conversations with kids and trust that they would be smarter by talking to them like they are actual people, we wouldn't have the overabundance of pregnancy that we have from younger people. We would have smarter children. We would have people that are responsible enough to wait until they are their own people to raise kids, or even have kids. I mean, for all that I'm saying and doing, I could say that I'm probably the worst person to talk about because I have done drugs, I have done activity with drugs, I have done the worst things, I've almost been a father, I've done every single horrible thing that you guys could think about and worse things that could go into really weird taboo territory that I'm not sure you guys are ready to hear. But it's because I've seen and done horrible things that I actually believe I'm the best person to talk about this sort of stuff for the time being. Until someone a lot better equipped does talk about this in a more profound way that isn't condescending, or because they happen to just be of an older age and know what they're talking about from experience, I'm pretty sure that people like me need to discuss these kind of topics because it needs to be addressed. Parenting and sex and even certain other topics we're going to be going into need to be discussed by people that have done the worst.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
But at this moment in time, I have to stop at this point because if I do, I would never be finished in time to be doing all the other stuff that I need to be doing for the rest of the week of uploads. So, you guys tell me in the comments below about what you guys think about what modern parenting is now, and what you guys hope to see better in the future if certain things were to progress. Along with that, just leave in the comments below what you guys want me to talk about in the next milestone of videos that we make. Should I be discussing stuff on drugs, or should I be discussing stuff on the recklessness and other sort of stuff that happens with teenage culture? Or you could even be of something that you guys could tell me that I should discuss in general. I have an open discussion thing for you guys except for religion and politics, because both those subjects can go to hell. But peace and take care, my little nomads, and I will see you guys in my next coming videos and my other big projects. Keep it locked, people.
Yeah. Do it like this, yo. Look, this is the birth of everything you ran from within your nightmares, right here, manifested in a man who won't fight fair, like years ahead of these fools who couldn't step in my shoes. I get checked out, others check out when I check in the booth. Right. Sure, I'm serving, I'm Colonel, sir, I'm swerving, I'm burning them. Once I bursted, I'm God, I'm cursing the birth of a merc, and I'm taking them to church. I bring out the worst in them, advanced placement. I ain't dumb and nothing.